This conference will now be recorded.
And we're recording. So,
or which tool?
well, first we're welcome to the GOGI PowerUp. And we have to call our meeting to order.
Yes, ma'am. Would you do that for me, Monica?
I will. We call this meeting to order. The purpose of GOGI is to provide simple tools to anyone interested in making more positive decisions in their lives. The goal of the PowerUp is to create a purpose and meaning of service for that week. That is where the GOGI gets their power. We power up by living a life of service.
Great, thank you. So, Savina, which tool are we going over this week?
I believe this week is back to Boss of My Brain.
Correct.
Yeah, and here is our GOGI national calendar that shows that we are in the first week of October. Boss of my brain. Okay.
How exciting.
Yeah. I like starting over.
Yeah, me too.
Sometimes.
So are we going to have a special focus this time? Or we're waiting for it to Wednesday and then we'll start our special focus.
We'll start our special focus on Wednesday.
Okay.
With Tamara.
Okay. All right. So we're going to start. So do you want me to read the statement of ownership and our first page?
Sure.
Okay.
If you would be so kind.
I am. Boss of my brain, statement of ownership. I am boss of my brain, and I have complete control over each thought I create. Because I am boss of my brain, I can change my thoughts at any time. No one has control over my thoughts because only I am boss of my brain. Repeat this week's statement of ownership as often as possible before you get out of bed, before your meals, during a break, and before sleeping. Write this statement for added emphasis. Your weekly statement of ownership reinforces this week's tool. Weeks to study Boss of My Brain are the first week in January, the first week in April, the first week of July, the first week of October. The key words for Boss of My Brain are the 3 parts. There are 3 parts that matter. Smart part, which is in the front, emotional part, which is usually between your ears, and the old habit part, which is in the back where it needs to be. Which one is the boss right now? Well, right now, I think we're all using our smart part.
I don't know about all that, but okay.
Well, we're studying, so that's the smart part, right?
Yeah, but I'm stuck in the emotional part right now.
That's me too, but the objective of Boss of My Brain, your goal with this week's tool is to learn that you have a choice in how your brain thinks. Like I'm trying not to sleep. You can smart think, emotional think, or you can old habit think. You are the boss of how you think, and you will learn how to be the boss of this week's tool called Boss of My Brain. So we can all just jump on our brains like riding a bull, and that's what this is showing us, right?
Yep.
Okay, our tool intro.
Ride my brain like a bull, because that's the only riding I'm doing.
Yeah, exactly. Did you know that GOGI believes there are only 3 parts of your brain you need to understand? At GOGI, we focus on 3 parts of the brain. The smart part, the emotional part, the old habit part. So Now, we're going to learn how to use Boss of My Brain. If you want to use the GOGI tool called Boss of My Brain, all you need to do is ask yourself, what part of my brain is in charge right now? It's that simple. The smart part of your brain is where you learn new things. This is the part of the brain that will help you be strong and make positive decisions. The emotional part is filled with opinions, drama, anger, or hurt. When you let this part of your brain be the boss, you are not going to make positive decisions. The old habit part of your brain is where all those habits you no longer need are stored. The less you rely on old habits, the more room you will have for the smart part to help you create new positive habits. Do you want me to read
Can I
the books?
can I say something?
Of course.
I
Sure.
never really understood that old habit part of this before, but just recently I've begun to understand it. My husband has been in a single cell for a long time, and he goes in and out of cellmates a lot for various reasons. And now he has one that he's had one a couple of months, and he's going back to old habits. And I'm like, oh, I get it. It's like this guy's influencing him, and he goes back to old habits, and he's thinking with his old habit part of the brain. He even asked me the other day, if I ever come home, will you please cut that part of my brain out?
That's the lobotomy, right?
But it's actually been good for him because he's realized that he's not as far along as he thought he was. So he's doing good in noticing that, at least.
Right. Before you can change something, you have to be aware of it.
Right. I think I just started realizing that I used to do a lot of old habit thinking as well. And I'm trying to push forward and get through that instead of being stuck. So it's a good feeling.
Your voice indicates that you're doing a good job at that.
Thank you.
Oh, she is. You do sound calmer.
She does.
Well,
Okay,
my
so
medicine helps me a lot with that. So
see? Well, but that's what it's supposed to do.
Yeah, that's why they make it.
Yeah. Not just for, a good time. All right, so who's going to read our next part?
I'll read it.
well, thank you,
Is that the
Sabrina.
review, Boss of My Brain?
Yes, please.
Okay, let me start reading. I'm sitting outside, so if you hear a bunch of noises, that's what it is.
Is it big enough font?
Oh yeah, it's big enough. I'm not on my phone anymore. That was hard on my phone. Now I got a tablet.
There you go.
All you do is review, Boss of My Brain. All you do is ask, what part of my brain is working right now? Am I using my smart part, emotional part, or old habit part? If you ask yourself this question, then you are using GOGI tool, Boss of My Brain. If you use no other tool, Boss of My Brain is enough for you to be the boss of your life and make the changes that will allow you to enjoy each day a little more. Some GOGI students find it easy to be the boss when they touch their forehead to remind themselves to be smart thinking. Hi, GOGI family. My name is Alfred Quinones. GOGI has
Alfred.
Alfred.
Hi, Alfred.
GOGI has been a part of my life for the last 3.5 years. Since the beginning of my GOGI life, I've been boss of my brain. I have unlocked myself from the prison of my mind. I am no longer a prisoner of the past. When I let go, I am able to move forward from the pain and anguish that I endured through life. It no longer defines me and has no power. With my positive thoughts, I can have a brighter future. I want to inspire people and give hope to those who who are hopeless by working the 12 tools of GOGI and spiritual principles. I will continue to be the father, son, brother, and uncle I was meant to be. Free GOGI leader, Alfred King. Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
That's so cool.
And
I
he
like
does.
seeing that from people that we actually know and communicate with.
Yeah, I
Um,
like how you wrote free too.
yeah,
No,
it's
I
cool.
think Alfred always has something good to contribute, I think,
He
because
does,
he's been doing it for a lot longer than us, and I always appreciate his view on things.
definitely.
Yes.
Hey, Alfred, if you're listening.
Boss of My Brain was the first GOGI tool created by and for prisoners. An inmate sitting in a GOGI small group meeting said, "What you're telling me is I'm the boss of my brain?" When
We
one
really
of
can't hear you. I don't know.
you can't hear me?
No, you
Okay.
got really muffled.
Were you able to hear me before?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, let me move inside. Hold on.
Oh, that we can hear you without that when you
You
said
can
let me.
hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm walking and talking. Um, Boss of My Brain.
Oh, there she goes muffled again.
Can you hear me now?
No.
Now you're a little more muffled.
Maybe you're covering the microphone.
Oh, maybe I am. Where's the microphone? I don't even know.
Go. We can
Can you
hear you
hear
now.
me better?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, I have the back of it, so probably it's not in the back.
Okay. It's not even.
Okay. It's not even a new tablet, but I just never used it with a microphone before. So Boss of My Brain was the first GOGI tool created for prisoners, created by and for prisoners. An inmate sitting in a GOGI small group meeting said, "What you're telling me is that I'm the boss of my brain?" When one of the group members stated, "Only you are the boss of your brain." It really resounded with the man. This concept of being the boss of his own life experience was a new one for him. For his entire life, he was sure that his life was controlled by outside forces and that he was an unwilling recipient of negativity. But armed with the tool, Boss of My Brain, the man was no longer the victim. The challenge in using this tool is when we are faced with the ability to no longer that it let me start it. When we are faced with the ability to no longer wallow in the unfortunate situation of victim, when we can no longer play the role of the victim, then we are forced with the opportunity to actually create something different, better, and something closer to our hopes and dreams. This is not as easy as it may seem for most people. Being boss of my brain, can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Being boss of my brain means that you no longer blame the officer, your mother, your abuser, your addiction, or anyone or anything else for your behavior. Using boss of my brain means that if you choose to feel a certain way, it is your choice, not someone's fault. Something angers you, use boss of my brain and choose something for more productive than anger. Something saddens you, use boss of my brain to move your efforts to be of service to someone worse off than you are at the moment. Something is not fair. Welcome to the club. And use boss of my brain to create the fairness and compassion with others that
Huh.
you hope is someday extended to you. Boss of my brain takes the power away from others and lets you be the boss. I like all of this. It's a
Wow.
tightening concept. It's a frightening concept at times. But if you put it into play in small increments, it will open up opportunities and life experiences you never imagined possible. Here's how to get started with Boss of My Brain. Start small. Use your boss of my brain tool to keep your mouth shut when you would rather lash out. Use your Boss of My Brain tool to do one small act of kindness for another person. Use your Boss of My Brain tool not to beat yourself up for decisions of the past and turn your focus to all the good you can do today. Boss of My Brain empowers you. However, much like driving the fanciest race car, you will need to practice on the tricycle. Graduate to the two-wheeler, then the scooter, then the beat-up junker, then the OK car. I think I'm still in the OK car. And finally, you can get behind the wheel and win the race.
Yeah, I'm in the OK car too.
Yeah.
Living the GOGI way means you incorporate the tools into your daily decisions, always filtering your emotions, opinions, beliefs, and behaviors through the use of your positive decision-making tools. Living the GOGI way can help you create the life you desire. How? Because you are the boss of your life experience, and when you employ your tool, Boss of My Brain, you are declaring your life to be a work of your own creation. Go on, be the boss. It's your life. It's on you.
Very nice. Thank you. Yeah, that's new. That's good.
Yeah, that was really good.
Like we always say, Coach Taylor has so much wisdom, and she's such a great speaker or writer.
Yeah. All right, Rebecca, would you like to continue?
Shua. Um, this is from Coach also. Um, every one of the GOGI tools was developed by men and women who had struggled many years and had made decisions which hurt them and others. And listening to them, it was easy to see they wanted to make the choices leading to positive life. They just didn't have the tools. In developing the tools, they discovered they could change and make that change last. After more than a decade of working with men and women and children in prisons or trapped inside a prison of their own mind, I have come I have come to realize that the GOGI tool, Boss of My Brain, can unlock even the most stubborn of prison doors. When all of life's events are altered through this tool, any individual, and I do mean any individual, has the power to control and direct their reactions and responses. Life might not be fair, but Boss of My Brain short puts you in the driver's seat. Love, Coach. Thoughts from Coach Lee Carlson. Coach Carlson was appointed as GOGI's National Director of Programs and Media in 2013. After 4 years of nearly full-time volunteerism for GOGI, in her current volunteer position, she is responsible for coordinating with institutions and corrections as they implement GOGI into their programming. In each chapter, she will provide insight and her perspective into maximizing the GOGI tools for positive decision making. I am boss of my brain. Say that to yourself. I am boss of my brain.
I
A
am boss of my brain.
a powerful realization for me in my life was how I relate to my brain and how I choose to process thoughts and information is 100% up to me. When I first realized that I am the boss of my brain, it immediately gave me a positive sense of self-control and confidence I had been lacking my entire life. I always thought others made me think, feel, speak, and act a certain way. They made me do it. They made me feel this way. No one made me feel or do anything. I am in control. I can choose to think a specific thought or feel a certain way, regardless of others. opinions, or actions. This simple yet powerful fact propelled me into a life where my decisions are filtered through a powerful brain capable of handling even the most difficult situations. Going into prison and jails, you meet a lot of people who do not think they are in control. They have given their control over because they are physically incarcerated. They are in prison physically and mentally. What Boss of My Brain says is that you can be locked up, you can be told what to do, where to stand, when to sleep, and when to eat, but you cannot ever be told that, or you can never be, but you cannot ever be told what to think while you're doing it. Your thoughts and how you choose to view a situation is entirely up to you. You choose. You are the boss. No one else dictates how you think, feel, or act. That's all you. Coach, GOGI for Life, Coach Carlson.
Good. Okay. Well, that's true. Sometimes it's hard to think that we have all this control and we just don't use it.
I definitely agree. Reading that put in perspective for me that I do try to let other people dictate to me how I'm supposed to feel and act and behave. It's like I'm the only one that has control over that. Not anybody else. Me. It's all me. So I need to give up that feeling and stop letting other people control my behaviors. I'll try to control my behaviors.
Just stop when it's happening and realize when it's happening. Probably it'll take a while to get to the point where you want to be, where they don't influence you at all, but just realize when it's happening at first, and then say, wait, let me change my thought pattern or something.
Yeah. Like a lot of people, for instance, my neighbors, when I go sit out back with them, they try to control my daughter. And I'm like, no, that's my kid. You don't tell her what to do. I tell her what to do. You need to stop doing that and let me do it. And they get upset with me, but oh well. I don't care if they're upset. That's my daughter. You're not going to tell her what to do.
Are they
Well,
related to you?
Huh?
Are they related to you?
No, they're my neighbors.
Just neighbors, not any family and neighbors, just neighbors.
Yeah.
well, sometimes well, when I grew up, all the neighbors, all the neighbor ladies and stuff, they were kind of like our moms, so we always listened to them. But they never told us anything that wasn't practical or something that our mother probably wouldn't tell us.
And I think that's where they're coming from. But if I'm sitting right there and I see her doing that, let me be. I can see if I'm like out walking or I've walked away or went into my neighbor's house or whatever. Then yeah, that's fine. But if I'm sitting right there, then that's where I get irritated with it.
No, I can understand that. All right. So,
Activities.
activities. Let's see. I guess do we want to do the activities? Because there's only a few of us. We can all do
Yeah, I
this.
remember doing this one. The
Or pick.
forehead, ears, and back of your head.
Oh yeah,
You
let's do
remember that one before.
Okay. Who would like to start?
So any wait, alone with another person or in small groups, you can enjoy this activity. Forehead. Please touch your forehead. Right behind your forehead is the smart part of your brain. Give an example to your partner or group of when you might smart or when you make smart decisions and when you are using the smart part thinking. So I will go first. Give an example to your partner group of when you make smart decisions. I make smart decisions when it comes to dealing with my children and explaining certain situations to them. And when are you using the smart part? I'm using the smart part when I make those decisions to educate my children.
That's good.
Okay, who's next?
I guess I'll go, but I don't really have an answer. Give an example when you make a smart decision and when you're using the smart part thinking. I'd say I catch myself more often. For some reason, this tool really sticks to me. And it's like the first thing that I jump to, like when I think that I'm having a bad reaction or I'm, starting to get upset because I haven't heard from my husband in 4 or 5 days or
Oh,
something. And so I always try to remind myself, now am I thinking with the smart part of my brain? Probably also at work, I use the smart part of my brain most of the day.
I hope so.
Sometimes I use the emotional part when people are asking me unreasonable things, but
Well, I can tell you, I was using my emotional part of my brain today, and it kind of made me stagnant in getting stuff done until I really started going back into making smart decisions, like getting things done that I'm supposed to get done. Until I got rid of being so emotional, I wasn't functioning well. But just
Yeah, that's
remembering
what me.
what I need to do, what was, I have certain tasks at the beginning of the month. I got to write all these checks. So I just stopped thinking about how upset I was about everything and started focusing on my, the work I needed to get done. And that helped. So once I did start using the smart part, it helped.
it's funny how that emotional part will paralyze you. You can get really stuck there. And
Yeah,
like it's almost like you can feel it because I don't know, it's like your brain is like heavy or something.
yeah, it's crazy how it, like you said, it does paralyze you because you don't want to get up, you don't want to do anything. You just want to sit there and like mope and be sad, and it's
And
debilitating.
dwell on the negativity,
Yep,
or just you know the uneasiness of whatever you're feeling.
right.
Yeah.
Crazy, crazy how
Okay.
that works.
Okay. So I'll try to. Okay. Back of the head. Now put your hand on the back of your head. That is where the old habit thinking happens. Give an example of some old habit thinking which has controlled you in the past. Um, well, this definitely is something that happens to me when it comes to food and how I feel about food and me eating out of frustration, or just actually, I just love to eat. But unfortunately, it's made me gain so much weight that I no longer really love myself.
No,
So when I go back to this old habit of not caring, I tend to eat even more. And it's still, a part of that still really controls me. So it's not
I
an
think
easy.
I understand that. I think I understand how you feel. Um, and that is something that you can break free from, believe it or not. Because 12 years ago, I actually weighed 90 pounds more than I do now.
Wow.
And and you know what? I didn't do surgery. I just, and it's taken 12 years to get to this point. And I know that's a long time, but
At least
No,
but
but
it's like,
that's good.
positive thoughts. You did it.
yeah, one time I went to the doctor and she told me I was morbidly obese, and I didn't like the way that sounded at all.
Mhm.
And she said, oh, she gave me simple instructions like eat whole grains, don't eat anything white, just the simple stuff we all know, no sugar. And I started going by that, and I don't know, it just kind of took off. And now I'm like the 7 day a week gym girl, and
That's
I don't,
good.
I don't know. So there is hope, believe me, because I used to be in that spot. I could eat two pizzas in one night, I'm sorry to say.
No, why should you be sorry? That's just part of life. Believe me, I am on the yo-yo. If once I start something, once I put my mind to starting to lose weight, I am really good at it. I'm like the perfect student. I don't ever deviate, and I will do it. But my problem is I gain and lose the same 50 pounds all the time because I do it and then I go, oh God, I'm so good, and then I just start slacking after that. And I
Yep.
wind up getting myself back to where I was. And then I'm miserable, miserable, miserable where I am now. And it's like, I know I can do this. I know I can do this without, anything else other than me controlling what I'm putting in my mouth. My worst thing is I don't prepare. But what if I could prepare and be, already have the lettuce ripped up and ready, already have like cooked turkey burgers or the turkey and the bell peppers and onions and stuff where I can just put it in the salad and and I use that as my dressing. I'm not a big dressing person anyway, but if I can do that, I love fresh foods. I love the taste of food. I don't need to hide it with a bunch of sauces and things like that, but it's me just doing that and walking on my treadmill, getting on there, watching whatever shows I have and just walking. And once I do that, I feel so much better. It's like, why can I not make that first step again? Because once I start doing it, it's easier to keep going.
Yep.
But it's like I have this roadblock for some reason. And I just need to step over or knock down the roadblock because once I start going, I can do it. And
Yeah.
you're right. Once, but as you said, I mean, even if it took 12 years, you know what? Time is going to pass anyway. So if
It's
you
going to
lose a
pass
little,
anyway. You're
right,
right.
one
Yeah,
or
you're
two
right.
pounds a week, they really only want you to lose about 2 pounds a week for it to stay off. But it's like, I'm get crazy like, oh my God, if I don't lose like 3 pounds a week, then I feel like,
You did nothing.
yeah, well, no, I don't feel like I did nothing, but I start to get frustrated and I just go, okay, just, then I have to start brainwashing myself to, think I'm in a plateau and I'm like, okay, lemon water, got to eat more fish. I got to stay away from, I don't eat any bread. Once I start dieting, I don't eat bread.
Oh hell no, I can't do that. I lost 25 pounds since I've been home from my last visit with Michael,
Oh,
and
Good.
wow.
just
That's great.
just because I was walking, I walked like 17 times around my apartment complex, and three times around is a mile.
Oh,
So
that's
I did 17 times, and I'm like, I
wow.
was stuck in my head one day, and I just could not stop walking. And I just kept going and going and going. And everybody was like, you need to sit down. You need to stop. It's too hot. You're going to dehydrate yourself and pass out. You can't do no more. I'm like, nope, I'm going. And I just went. So that was
See?
like my longest. It was crazy.
I know, but see, old habits tend to be they're strong.
Oh, they're
Yeah.
very strong. They're very. You're right. Like I was saying earlier, I didn't really get that old habit part, but bringing up that weight thing, that is an old habit, and I get it. It doesn't have to be something like drugs or something that I think of automatically, or I don't know. Like for my husband, it's like using curse words. That's an old habit of
Oh,
his, using curse words, because he doesn't use curse words. And so he's found himself like recently like using curse words. And it's different for everybody, but that weight thing, that's a good description because I definitely have been there and done that.
I love my curse words. So bad. I have like the mouth of a sailor, and I need to stop because my little one's gonna be starting repeating after me, and I'm gonna start yelling at her. But she got it from me, so I can't yell at her.
Right.
I'm bad though. I am horrible with swearing.
That's all right.
Michael yells at me all the time. You need to stop saying that. I'm like, fuck off. No.
No, that's not good.
Funny.
That's just how I am though. Like, and especially since I've been in the hospital. When I went in the hospital, there was no kids around, so I didn't have to watch my mouth. And I was like, every other word coming out of my mouth was a swear word, and I'm like, I'm sorry, fuck off.
Well, yeah, maybe maybe that's what you should start working on too. Just a little less.
Well,
But
I have cut down a lot since I've in the last like week or so. I really haven't been saying too many of them at all, and I've been really doing good, and I'm proud of myself. But when I
good.
got home, oh my god, it was bad. It was horrible. My mother kept saying, "Stop swearing, stop swearing, stop." I'm like, "What? Leave me alone." I
Yeah,
just,
you're
I,
like, ugh.
yep, I'm doing better, so that's the important part.
Hi, Joanne.
She she messaged and said that she called. Oh,
I came online. I was driving. I had an appointment with my therapist this evening, and I couldn't talk. I've been on the call since about 8:17, 8:20, and you guys couldn't
Yeah.
hear me.
oh,
So
okay.
just logged
Well,
on.
Okay, so we'll go on to maybe some group questions. So, Joanne, we'll let you go first since you came in. Was there a time today when you used the smart part of your brain? Please explain.
No, not today. um, I took the doctor put me out last week from work because of stress, and obviously I didn't take all the week off. I was going through some audits at work, and I took 2 days off, so I was trying to do me, and I went back to work today. I got dressed up, wore slacks, and you know the whole nine yard thing, and I thought I was okay, and it was a little overwhelming just going back hearing the person that's persuading me, or actually trying to get me fired. All the stuff that she had generated during the time I was off, and I'm like, okay, I'm gonna let it go. And I don't think I used my smart part till after I went to the therapist, or right before. This was my first session, and I got a letter today from the certifying body that has my certification in their hands, stating that there's another investigation, ethics investigation on me based on this lady. And when I got home and I read that, I blew it. Uh, So I wasn't the boss of my brain. I wasn't using the smart part of my brain, and I dwelled and I cried and I was sitting in my pickup. I didn't let her control. I called my boss. I said I wanted to get a transfer. I wanted to get demoted. All that things, and then my husband called out of the blue, and he's all like, "Why are you letting her beat you up? You're beating yourself up over nothing." And he started talking about loss of my brain. It's like, shut up. It's like, I don't want to hear that right now. And it made sense. I was letting her plant the seed. So he started planting those positive seeds. But it's like, you're my husband. You think highly of me. And um, going to therapy today, my first session in a very long time. made me think that I'm not being the boss of my brain lately. That since my husband's been back in my life and we got married and everything, that I've allowed myself to be vulnerable now, and it's been a very, very long time that I've allowed myself to crack, and it's not comfortable for me. So anything that's happening right now, it's affecting me. So I need to get starting with the smart part of my brain, so I could be the boss of my brain because I'm letting this lady take control of my thoughts. So right today, I don't have something positive. I haven't used the smart part of my brain. I think all day. I
That is
went,
understandable.
but I need to practice this step a little bit longer.
That's okay. But at least you recognize, I mean, today I can totally understand why you would be really emotional about all of that.
So
Not cool.
yeah.
But
So
you'll get
I mean,
through it.
You'll get through it and think about
and I'm sure I did. I kept talking myself while I was talking in therapy. It's like, okay, I already went through the company's investigation, through the county's investigation. So one more, hey, join the club. But it's just I went from one point to the extreme of me losing my license. Me, this is what I like to do. And I've been doing this for the past 10 years. But I'll be okay. I'll be okay.
Yes, you will.
yes,
You know.
you will.
Well, well, that lady doesn't sound very nice.
Uh, she has her own character defects to deal with, and I guess she wants to focus them on me. Just got to be in control of the boss of my brain,
Right.
and remember everything that I've done. I mean, I'm there for a reason. So
Right.
uh,
But hopefully you'll be able to get away from her and somewhere where your skills and knowledge will be helpful to someone else.
Right.
yeah, that's what the therapist says. That maybe it's time for you to leave somewhere else. I said, well, yeah, well, right now I can't because there's this ethics review going on, so I don't want to leave and then have somebody question me about,
Why
why is there an investigation open? So I'm just gonna wait, and it takes about 30 days. So continue to do what I'm doing, and have faith in my higher power, and everything will come out. Flow.
right. You'll clear your reputation, because
Yes.
and then you'll be, things will be more settled and then you can find something like,
Yeah.
that will benefit you as well as other people and not
Yeah.
have to be around someone who feels the need to, put other people down or cause chaos in someone else's life just so that she can get to a position that she wants to be in.
Exactly. So
Well,
thank
today
you.
was a lot more emotional part of the brain for me too. So I understand that. If I didn't go to work, I probably would have just totally had totally emotional part of the brain all day.
And that's well, I was thought I was okay. Then when I got home, I just fell apart, and the emotional part. But I'll be okay. I rationalized during therapy. It's like she's all like you're a good patient. I'm like, well, I work in the field. I need to shut up sometimes. But yeah, I just need to control and grow backbone again.
Well, then, but I actually don't think that that when you first said that you didn't do anything smart today is wrong because you joined us,
Yeah.
Yes.
and that was a smart part because now
Yeah, I have my husband in the back of my mind when he he wasn't intentionally using the GOGI tool, but he's like, you need to be the boss of your brain. And then I thought about it when I read Tamara's messages today. It's like, oh my God, that's a tool for today. I was like, God, I know you're trying to tell me something. Let me log on.
see, that's good.
Here I am.
Here you are with us.
Thank you.
Okay.
I used the smart part of my brain today when I was getting irritated with being out back with everybody, and instead of snapping off and saying some cruel and rude things, I gathered my stuff and went in the house.
Yeah, sometimes the best thing to do is retreat, I think.
Yes, walk away.
Yeah,
Mm.
so you don't have to endure all of that. Okay, so what can we do this week to share this tool with others as well as ourselves? Even though, we will focus on that for ourselves, obviously first, but what can we do?
We can rewrite the statement of ownership.
Have you done that?
I have actually.
Good. And you find that it helps you more?
Sometimes when it when I write it out the first time, if I don't have any like big major things going on, it lets me think about it more. And then sometimes I'll go back and read the chapter, and something will jump out at me, and I'll write that down, and that usually helps me a little bit more than the statement of ownership.
Yeah, because I have not tried that honestly to write it out, but I'm thinking that I probably should.
Yeah, just like your flashcards.
I have to try to remember like this week, I mean, it is boss my brain, but I don't always think what part of my brain am I thinking with right now. So I
Yeah.
think if I start repeating the ownership statement to myself, that maybe that'll become more second nature for me to think like that other than just feel, which is what I do a lot of the time. I I do think, I do spend quite a bit of time in the smart part of my brain, but my brain does like to dwell in the emotional part.
Yeah, mine does too.
I think I'm gonna start carrying my flashcards. Kept a
Good.
set, kept a set for me. So I talked about GOGI during session though. My therapist,
Yeah.
she's all like, "What's that?" I said, "Well, I started because of my husband, so it was awkward for me because don't I shared about my husband during session about him being incarcerated. I think I was expecting a like crazy look from her, like really, but but she didn't focus on nothing in questioning about relationship with him and him being incarcerated. And I shared it about Kogi and how I started because of him because he was facilitating and now it's helping me. I said that's one of my self care things that I do, and I think I'm gonna start carrying the flashcards and reading those flashcards myself and remembering to use a smart part of my brain and not emotional. Because lately, I was telling my husband, I said, I don't know if it's because it's a prenatal medication I'm taking. My hormones are all over the board. I'm having a birthday in a month. I don't know at this point, but I'm so emotional lately that I don't like it. I'm usually pretty well together, but it's because I haven't allowed myself to be emotional in a very long time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
sometimes you have to allow yourself to just let all of that
I'm,
out.
I'm just, I'm, it's not that I'm emotional. I think more vulnerable since he's been in my life. It's been more of thinking about us and how he's changed my way of thinking about relationships. And it's like I'm dependent, I guess, in a way, a little. And I'm not used to it. I'm not used to having the other person there and worrying about me trying to sleep and not waking up because my dad's. And I had to acknowledge that today during therapy that using the emotional part again because my dad passed away in his sleep it's going to be his anniversary on the 27th of this month, and my birthday is on the 1st. So I relate that. And then now that I have Gabriel in my life, it's like I'm scared of dying and leaving him alone. I've never felt that before.
That's definitely understandable.
That is understandable. But that's one of those things that you don't know when that's going to happen, and you don't know who's going first, and you don't know anything like what's going to happen. It's one of those things that you worry about that you can't do anything about.
Yes.
And when you think about not being able to do anything about something you're worrying about, you can kind of convince yourself, why am I worrying about it? I can't do anything anyway.
I know. There's a lot of things that I have to let go, but it's just that I guess working on so many emotions lately, and I'm running on emotions, that I have to start running with the smart part of my brain instead of emotional.
We were just talking about how when we think with the emotional parts of our brain that you get paralyzed there. You get
I was hearing the conversation, but I couldn't speak into the phone for some reason. But you guys were right. I was agreeing, because we get synced. I get sunken into my emotions, and I want to sit there in my pity pot. And not a good feeling.
Yes, the pity pot is a comfortable place to be.
Right.
It is, but yet, you know what? It's draining. So it really isn't. We just think that it is because we want to just feel just all sorry for ourselves. But actually, when we finally do realize, we kind of pull ourselves out, I know we actually feel better.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know if this happens to you ladies, but when I feel my pity and I'm feeling sorry for myself, I hate it when somebody else feels sorry for me.
Yeah.
I can't. It's like, no, let me be. It's only me.
Leave me alone in my misery.
Yeah.
Joanne, you had said something earlier about being vulnerable, and I'm going to tell you something that happens to me sometimes when I'm vulnerable, and I as soon as I am, like right afterwards, I feel like, why did I do that? That was really stupid, and I start beating myself up for opening up to about life situations,
Yes.
and then I start beating myself up for it. Like, why did you do that? Why did you put yourself out there? And I don't know exactly where that comes from, but I kind of get stuck in that spot because being vulnerable is very hard.
Yes. Yes. That's my biggest critic, and I feel that when I feel like that vulnerable, that I'm failing a lot of people around me. It's not fair to me. I realized that today during therapy. That's not fair to me, that I have so much high expectations on myself that I feel that I cannot be vulnerable and I cannot have a meltdown because I have a lot of people depending on me, and which might be false, because it's just maybe just a false illusion that I have, that if I'm not there or rescue whoever, then things are not going to happen. But, yeah, I'm my biggest critic, so it's one of the hard things.
It is hard, but I'm going to tell you something else. When people are vulnerable, that's my favorite part of a conversation. So I don't even know why I feel bad about when I am, because when people open up to me, I'm like, wow, I love your story. I love to hear everybody's stories.
Yeah. And thank
I
you for
think because
allowing
that's
me.
the human side. That's the
Yeah.
human side of all of us, when you are vulnerable. Because it's like to really love someone, you have to make yourself vulnerable. So I think to really, even though you can get hurt, it's that double-edged sword, but you have to be open to being hurt to truly be loved.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the same way it is with ourselves.
Yeah. Makes sense.
Yeah, I
So
agree with that.
I think for me, I'm going to try to, the emotional stuff is with me, and it's going to be with me for a while. I have so many things going on, but I am going to try to have a very smart brain during the day to get done the tasks that I need to get done at work, so that I will feel better by the end of the week, at least knowing that I've taken care of things, because there's deadlines for tax stuff. That's what I do, as well as bookkeeping and accounting and payroll stuff. So there's so much in that besides other things that I have going on. But if I get that done, then I know that I will feel more at ease throughout the weekend, where I can take some time for myself. Because if I don't do that, I know I'm just going to be a ball of stress over the weekend, fighting with myself about whether I should be at work or should I be helping Scott's mom with issues, you know? So I'm going to make it a conscious effort I am going to touch my forehead tomorrow. That's what I am going to do. I'm going to go in and I'm going to touch my forehead to remind myself to, you know, focus on this positive task that's going to benefit me, even if I'm a little uncomfortable about it and wanting to be emotional. I'm going to push myself in that direction.
Let us know how that goes.
I know it's going to go well, but I will on Wednesday.
Okay.
Are we still having the Wednesday call? They canceled it.
No, we're doing the Wednesday call because Tamara wants to start the new
Oh,
added,
okay. The new program?
yeah, and the science behind GOGI.
Okay.
So we're gonna do it Wednesday, and I think that's gonna be the only time we do it. But I was too nervous to do all that, and I don't know a lot about it, so I didn't want to do it tonight. So she said she's gonna do it Wednesday.
Okay.
All right. Well, I think we kind of went through a lot of things. If, you know, unless anyone has anything else to say, I think we can maybe close early this evening.
Sounds good because I'm tired and it's 12 o'clock.
Oh, wow.
For her. Okay. All right. So who would like to lead us in our GOGI pledge?
I'll read it.
Okay.
Please repeat after me. Our commitment
May our commitment
to the study of GOGI
To the study of
study of
GOGI,
GOGI
grant us the joy
grant us the joy
of giving and receiving,
of giving and receiving,
so that our inner freedom
so that our inner freedom
may be a maximum service
may be of maximum service
to those we love
to those we love
and infinite others.
and others.
We invite you to join us for our next meeting to be held on Wednesday. Is it going to be at 8 or 8:30, Rebecca? Did she say we're going? Okay, I guess we'll check our website where we'll study the GOGI tool of Boss of My Brain and some science behind that. So that'll be interesting. All right, ladies. Well,
Okay,
on the
thank you,
count of
ladies.
three. Okay, on the count of three. 1, 2, 3.
GOGI for life.
All right, ladies. Have a good couple days. Hear from everybody Wednesday. If not, have a good rest of the week, and I hope we can all be a little smarter.
Yes,
Thank you.
Or at least acknowledge. That's all. Just acknowledge what part we're at.
That's right.
yes.
All right. Good night.
Good night.